This is part 3 of a series. Head to faptic.com/mastering-data to find the other parts, or jump in here.
But so we've now got the team, and we're going to build in this first project, right? You've got to start somewhere. And you can't build a data-backed solution without data, and it has to be data that's in your world. So the ideation stage, right, the bit where you're coming up with what you do, needs some fluency with that data world, and we need to check the feasibility of your data. And as you said, right, this is a good place to bring in some experience, because we don't want to invest in a data platform to build a solution and only find out that it never really had a chance. And we also don't want to go around the business with a hammer looking for nails when the business is built on screws, right? Because we will find things to hit, and it's going to be a waste of energy, which is a waste of resource. We need to start where that data lives, and we need to find a project that has the data to feed it. So, and that project needs to be valuable enough to pay for the potential and potentially substantial investment that's made. Because although you can say that we're learning, and a lot of things have happened in the organization, in organizations where things have been learned and they've proved to be valuable, it's not going to make it easier to get the next project underway if this was a waste of money. And it goes back to that first point of make it pay for itself in the year. What have been good first projects that you've seen where the data is in place, and how did you establish sort of the feasibility of the goal for that from the data?
So from my experience, a successful initial data project often leverages on existing data-rich areas, like you mentioned, Anthony, or facilitate the initiation of a data collection. From my experience, examples could include customer segmentation for targeted marketing, for example, predictive maintenance to optimize operations, churn analysis for retention strategies, or supply chain optimization. There are a lot of examples to pick from. These projects provide measurable benefits. For example, cost saving, improved efficiency, or enhanced customer satisfaction. What I can't say on the other side would be projects that may raise concerns, which you might want to steer clear or be prepared for a bit of more overhead with it. A few examples would be sensitive data compliance, where you will need a bit more expertise. Data quality issues. I think one of them that everybody has been hit with is the scope creep, unrealistic expectations, or resistance to change, or one that unfortunately appears from time to time, lack of executive support.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that where things become just IT projects, and they're never finished. They're not even abandoned in a working form. So as an architect, I see this. I was an AWS architect for quite a while, and there's sort of a hierarchy of ways to leverage AI, machine learning, data. Some of them, you just feed the data to it and it will give you a result. And it's a bit of a black box, but hopefully if you've got your measurements right, it will be very clear whether that's helping you. You know, are the cart quantities going up? Is the value of the cart going up? And as you say, like that could be predictive maintenance and so on. But there are some complexities to consider when you move away from these sort of off-the-shelf solutions. And those might be that different algorithms that you look to employ that someone in the data team might have worked out is notionally feasible. Some of those require certain things like data density. You know, they require to be recoded into set schemes. Maybe it's from 0 to 1. And that can be difficult to do. So this seems like a place where a bit of experience, an experienced hand coming in and saying, I know it looks like that would be an easy thing to do, but that's a naive understanding. And also you get other problems with tooling where it says it will do it, but does it actually do it? So those are the pieces where having some experience in the mix might help it in my experience. So onto sort of building a foundation, right? And these will be decisions you're making early on, right? And at this point, you know least about the domain, and rework and failure are a real risk here, right? That waste. And as I said, right, the marketplace is filled with solutions which will say the right thing. You know, we do this, and they come up in their tick box exercises that get them through the door saying, we do this, we do that, right? But the reality of it is only found in experience, because the execution is a lot more difficult than the initial implementation, right? It may work, but it might be difficult to use. So, for example, Tableau, which is a beautiful product when you get it working, the visualizations, for example, in geographic, showing geographic data, excellent. But if you try and pivot that data, it's very challenging. And you'd only know this if you tried to do it in Tableau, because Tableau are trying to sell you a data prep plugin, right? An extra sale, which probably you've not budgeted for in that process, which makes it easy to do that. But they intentionally make it difficult to do that when you haven't bought the product. So those are the sort of pitfalls we see sometimes. But Alex, what are the pitfalls you've seen when helping organizations either augment their data solutions or look out to build new places to operate in those sort of data platforms?
I would start actually, Anthony, with a bit of the part that you were saying about foundations. In my opinion, in the foundation area of any kind of data project, skill and tool goes hand in hand. Experience from that skill is something that is needed to actually lay the correct bedrock for any kind of data project. Like you mentioned with Tableau, which is a really good example, the tool itself is not a problem. The tool is excellent, but you need someone with experience to explain if it's feasible for what we're trying to obtain. This is one of the main ones that I've seen, total cost of ownership. Like you said, while the initial licensing fees may seem manageable, total cost associated with necessary add-ons, integration services, or ongoing maintenance is going to quickly escalate. Another common challenge is the lack of comprehensive data strategy. Organizations might rush into adopting new technologies without fully understanding their data needs and objectives. They can be persuaded by a really fancy tool, like you mentioned. You see a lot of examples on the internet. This can lead to selecting tools that are not well suited to their specific use cases, resulting in inefficiencies and pretty much the need to rework, which you do not want when you're working on a foundation. It's crucial to have a clear vision and strategy in place to guide the selection of implementation data solutions. You need to make sure that the foundation is solid in order to build your whole data strategy.
Yeah, there's a lot of shelfware that happens in this industry, isn't there, where there's a relationship higher up the organization and the engineers haven't had a chance to use it, and it's purchased, there's a sunk cost, and so we don't use something that's maybe more useful, or maybe they have experience in it, which breaks that skills and experience paradigm, which puts the project at risk. So that is challenging.
Some, like you said, Anthony, sometimes we might be rushing into tools that have a payment plan to it, or they're pretty much just paid, when we have open tools, open libraries, and pretty much allows us to create whatever we want without paying anything.
This is the end of this part. Interested in the rest of the series? Follow Faptic Technology on LinkedIn or visit faptic.com/mastering-data.